Hello YouTube. Some people have asked me to do a little how-to on how I do my soldering on my rails. First thing I do is I clean the track and the rail joiner with some alcohol and a toothbrush. I've already done it. Just take the toothbrush, clean the rail joiner, clean the rails. You want a clean joint. Next thing I do is I dip a couple of cotton balls in some water. Put them on either side of the rail joiner just to absorb some of the heat, and I guarantee I will not melt those ties. Well, that one almost looks like it's bent up already a little bit. Not quite. Alright, what I use is a electrical solder. It's a rosin core. I believe it has a little flux built into it. I do not use any additional flux. I think flux is the devil. It corrodes your track if you get a little too much on there, if you don't clean it up right. So I just stay away from it. I've ruined some track doing it with flux before, and now I'm not going to use it anymore. What I use for soldering is just your pencil tip soldering iron. About ready for a new tip, I guess, on this one, but cheap soldering iron, that's all you need. Gives you plenty of heat. Zoom in there so you can see what I'm doing. My hands don't get in the way. You want to heat up the track, but not too much because you don't want to melt those ties. Just touch it until it melts. Put a little solder on there. You could actually even put the solder on the soldering iron before you even start the joint. And you won't have to mess with putting the solder to the rail. You just need to put a little bit on the tip, but I like this way better. You can just heat it up. We're back and forth. And I'm pretty happy with that one. Right there. I think it looks pretty good. Once you paint your rails, you should not see the joint really hardly at all. So that's it for soldering track. I'm going to show you how to solder feeder wires next. Next thing I do when I'm doing feeder wires, I drill holes next to the track on the outside of the rail between a couple of ties. I don't know exactly what size drill bit, but you want to make sure it's tight to whatever gauge wire you're using. You don't want too much slop in there. You'll lose ballast down the holes or whatever. But I use 18 gauge wire for my feeders to go with a 14 gauge bus. What I do is I put the wire through the hole, measure it to your bus, clip your wire. Then I'm going to strip the ends and tin them and then attach them to the rails. Okay, so I've stripped the wire. Put it in the camera. There we go. I stripped the wire, and you don't have to be perfect here. You're probably going to have to trim some of that off anyway. Getting ready to tin it. It's hard to tin the wire with only two hands. You need more. So put the wire under something that's going to hold it, even if you got a little vise or whatever you could use. But you take your soldering iron. Sorry about that, folks. Put it to the wire. Come on. Come on, baby. When I don't have a camera right between my hands here, it usually works better. But the general idea is put solder on your wire. There we go. If it builds up a little heavy, that's cool. That's just more that's going to go on your rails. So I hope you saw that. That's how you tin the wire. Next step, I take some needle nose pliers and I bend the very end of it like that. And before I did any of these steps, I did clean the track with alcohol and my toothbrush again. Alrighty. I know it belongs in there. What the heck? There we go. Pull it down, and you want it to be nice and snug against your rail. Where are we at? Sorry about bumping the camera, folks. Try to realign it here for you. Hope you got a good shot of that. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so rail's cleaned, wires tinned. And all you need is a little dab now because wire's already got solder on it, right? Right on. So sometimes I don't even bother using the solder in addition to what's on the wire. But for instructional purposes, I'm going to dab it just a little. I'm going to make sure it's right where you want it, because once your solder gets on there, it's on there for good. Okie dokie. There we go. I'm going to hit on this side. Okay. Actually put a little more solder on the wire itself. You can just move that though. Are we on there? Do we have contact? It's not turning out the way I expected it to. Usually works a lot better than this. But we're on. That's not coming off, and it's just enough. I'm trying to pry on the back of it, as you can see. It hasn't even cooled down 100% yet, and it's on there. Ties are in good shape. No one's tweaked any ties. If you get any solder on the rails, just take some very fine sandpaper, clean it off, tops of there. Take your toothbrush again with alcohol, and I failed to mention this on the rail joiners, but make sure you clean after you're done soldering, because like I told you before, I believe there is a little bit of flux in the solder, and this will just help clean that and neutralize it. Okay, so after you've soldered your feeder wires on, you want to bring them down through your layout. I've already taken the liberty of attaching the white one to my main bus here. I'm going to do the same with the black one now. I'll come in on an angle like that, clip it right on. And what I use, oh, where's the other clip? Oh, I snapped it on here already. I'll grab another one. Like Scotch locks, they're suitable for well, what I'm using, a 14 gauge wire to run on the outside part, and an 18 gauge wire to go into the inside part, and it's a dead end there, it doesn't come out the other end. And once you compress this little metal bar here, it'll squeeze both wires and make a contact. So I've got one on here. I'm going to slide in the black wire as far as it will go. Take my pliers, squeeze down. These channel locks are a little bit awkward. A regular plier works great. And it snaps in place, and you got a connection. You just wired a piece of track. So I hope this helps you guys. If you got any questions, just send me a message or post a comment, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.